Today, you join me, brothers and sisters of the YouTube algorithm and the Toastify Church, for a very special ritual. Our subject will be the FNF animator, ShawnCookie, who was once an innocent DeviantArt creator, now possessed by the worst of all demons, fame. 200,000 subscribers within 2021 out of nowhere was an incredible milestone for Shawn, but it also came with a lot of negative actions, including false flagging, abuse of copyright strikes, and much more. This has all recently culminated after a year in some allegations of sexual interactions with minors. I know the last charge has severely afflicted some of our previous churchgoers, Sister Mirth, Brother Maze, and Brother Amor to name a few, and I fear today, as we dissect the career of this creator, we may find the same. Whatever the result is, I welcome you all to the Exorcism of ShawnCookie. Despite erupting in popularity during the last 3 years, Shawn has been online a lot longer than many people assume. His About section on his channel actually shows the start date as July 2015, and a quick search up of his name reveals a connected DeviantArt account with lots of art that traces all the way back to 2015 as well, when Shawn was just 14 and a young, ambitious artist. Looking through pages of drawings is like opening up a time capsule. It's a look into the creativity of a teenager, his origins as an artist and his interests, starting at Sonic, Breadwinners and Animaniacs, and ending with Eddsworld and Mr. Osumatsu. This art includes everything from fan-made work to original characters created out of the shows, which have a concurrent theme of being in love with the main characters. There's really not much to read here, considering these pages are basically just an assortment of self-inserts from a teenage artist, but it is really interesting to see how these pages reflect upon someone's maturity, changing and developing through different shows, the impact of media upon people of Shawn's age at the time, and his progression of talent as an artist. I also found this, which is most unheavenly. For the first 5 years of their online presence, ShawnCookie was basically just another budding DeviantArt artist, with not a lot happening overall. Probably the most notable event is them transitioning from female to male in November 2019, seen here. Identifying myself as trans now, so yeah. I'm probably going to lose a lot of school friends and family members, and they might abandon me, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. No one can change me for who I am and who I want to be. Just proud to put this out there because I'm sick of these damn homophobes saying that straight people should exist only, and other bullshit like that. They can literally fuck off. Anyone here that's a part of the LGBT community, just remember, you are human. Don't give a shit what anyone says, you are important and deserve more love. I'm here to support you, no matter what. Late 2019 was also around the time Shawn started to be more active on his YouTube channel, as he had previously made an Eddsworld and Don't Hug Me I'm Scared shit post in February. A lot of his popularity at the time actually came from his participation in the collaborative animation project Eddsworld What the Future Reanimated, to which he contributed a scene. However, the work on animation projects and transitioning had put a mental toll on Shawn, and after initially announcing work on an original meme for Something Else YT's song I'm Something Else, Shawn decided to take a break from working on things as far as animation was concerned. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm in a state where I have zero motivation, and I don't think it's going to come back anytime soon. Some of his posts even reflected periods of mental instability and complications in life around this time. Not calling names, but someone made a comic for me, and I think my best friend happened to see it. Now he's mad at me, and I think it's because of the person, since they want to be best friends with me. And now look, he doesn't want to talk to me, and it's all because of her. I hope she's fucking happy. I'm in so much pain right now. Good thing I myself again earlier to get some feelings off. I'ma just head to bed. Hopefully things will get better when I wake up. Around July of 2020, Shawn permanently quit DeviantArt, and for the rest of the year, the only thing that kept Shawn online was occasional posts and updates about his current projects, such as his sister's YouTube channel. Although there had been some hardships as of recent, along with the pandemic and private issues had plagued Shawn, they were at least being active in projects and ambitions, and Shawn finally broke the deadlock on the channel when he posted a fun little animation about a game by the name of Friday Night Funkin', with this animation in particular being a rework of the green glasses meme posted by another fellow FNF animator called Masked Messenger Kid. Even the description of Shawn's video indicates that this was nothing more than a throwaway upload, as it says, haven't been uploading videos because lack of motivation, but here's something FNF related because why not? But little did he know that this one meme would become the foundations of which his current audience is built upon. Within a week of posting this short, slightly lewd meme about Pico and boyfriend, this 30-second video had hit 100,000 views, and seemed to only be getting more popular. Within a month, it was at 1 million views, and its continuing growth signified to Shawn that he needed to make more FNF meme animations, which he did on a surprisingly consistent basis. From March to May 2021, every single video that Shawn published regularly hit gained hundreds of thousands of views, with some managing to go viral. Shawn had gone from a modest 6,000 subscribers in February to reaching 100,000 subscribers in June. It was a meteoric rise in growth and a huge achievement for anyone, let alone someone who had been in relative obscurity and inactivity a few months before, and Shawn continued to grow from these FNF videos, incorporating characters from popular mods and rising to almost 200,000 subscribers by October 2021. But as we've seen with other FNF creators before, this is where the many issues start. Now, there are a few options for how I could go about documenting these issues and showing them to you as they get more and more severe, but since Shawn seems to love drawing himself as a demon, there was only one real way. 7 deadly sins. The animation community is an interesting place, especially when it comes to the hot topic of tracing, often considered a cardinal sin in the community for the simple fact that it blatantly rips off the original work without credit. And with someone going as viral as Shawn, there were bound to be a few copycats. In around January 2022, a YouTube account by the name of Starlight Animations started making a lot of very interesting and varied animations. This included everything from Mario to Minecraft to FNAF to children's songs. I mean, this has to be one of the weirder channels I've seen recently. However, for this situation, our focus is not Mario reviews Ariana Grande music, but Starlight's following animations, which include FNF characters. Now, if you're an attentive viewer, you might have realised that Starlight and ShawnCookie's art style look very similar. In fact, it probably seems as if Starlight is tracing ShawnCookie's art. So, what was ShawnCookie's response? Alright, so a lot of people have been informing me about Starlight Animations. The reason I haven't done anything about this yet is because I already tried texting them and asking them to be original, because this is just wrong overall. They used the same excuse from saying that they got inspired by Eddsworld, and I didn't believe them one bit. I even tried telling them to change their art style, because obviously the art style looks similar to mine, and they made things way more difficult than it needed to. They don't want to listen, and I've tried my best. They make more FNF NSFW content, and people are going to think I'm the one doing it. At this point, I'll just report the channel. If I can't do anything and they don't want to listen, then it makes no sense to waste my time. Yes, you heard that right. ShawnCookie essentially just said, because I think someone is tracing my art and they disagree, I'm going to flag the channel down. That's fucked. It's false flagging and it's a completely wrong move. Now, Shawn cites his main reason why he wants to flag Starlight down, that being under the impersonation policy, except Starlight's channel and content is nowhere near violating the terms of service. It's clear that while Starlight is tracing Shawn's work, they are not trying to act as if they are ShawnCookie. So what was Shawn's excuse? I even tried telling them to change their art style, because obviously the art style looks similar to mine, and people are going to think I'm the one doing it. This excuse fucking sucks. If someone can't tell the difference between Shawn and Starlight by moving their eyeballs to the channel name, they probably weren't worth having as an audience member in the first place. That's a terrible excuse to justify false flagging. Though Starlight might be a complete asshole and a degenerate, they have not violated the TOS in any way, and do not deserve a creator with 200,000 subscribers flagging them and posting about it to their audience, implicitly encouraging them to do the same. The flag tool should only be used when someone breaks YouTube terms of service, and yet responses like this are like that of an emotionally fragile child. By doing so, you open up a whole can of worms where people would be more likely to comply with false flagging for anything, and anyone with a loyal audience can weaponize it. If it became socially acceptable for mass audiences to falsely flag people down, anyone could be a target, and the report tool would turn from something intended for users to police the website to something that can be used to threaten people's passions, hobbies, and sometimes their livelihoods. It's a very slippery slope, and all you're doing is making the website worse. Now, let me make myself clear. I'm not defending Starlight for tracing. I'm sure a lot of people in this audience understand that tracing is a despised act in the animation and art community, and honestly, if I had to defend this kind of content, I don't think YouTube's TOS would let me say what I would do to myself. But my whole point here is that false flagging is just scummy as fuck. You should have just said that Starlight was tracing you and they were a bad person for that, yet you press the situation and implicitly encourage your audience to flag someone down because someone traced your artwork. I have never seen such a wrathful reaction to tracing, and I wonder what the audience reaction would have been if it wasn't a complete degenerate on the receiving end of it. Whilst researching this video, I've managed to get in contact with a former moderator of Shawn's Discord server, who moderated for him from March to October 2021. I wanted to learn as much as I could regarding Shawn, and what I got was some intriguing information. This person used to be one of the main co-owners of Shawn's old Discord server, and backed it up with screenshots talking to other co-owners, including a 14-year-old by the name of Born Weird. According to his ex-moderator, Shawn often played favourites with people on the server. Some people are exempt from the server rules by Shawn for whatever reason, which ranged from spamming spamming, to slurs, to things said in voice chat. However, voice chats were one of the danger zones of the server, as sexual things were alleged to have happened in staff chats and VC, with minors, usually 16 and above, being involved. At the time, Shawn was the oldest active individual on the mod team, having turned 20 in August. But active is a stretch, as Shawn left most of his server to this individual and the 14-year-old co-owner Bornweird, who managed most of the rules, channels, and permissions. In the meantime, Shawn would mostly play Roblox or hang out on other private servers. When I asked this moderator for how Shawn ran his Discord server, they said that none of the minors spoke out about the sexual things happening in staff chat due to the fear of being ostracized, adding, "People were worried about upsetting him. If one wrong thing happened, he would get pissed, yet we basically had to do the dirty work. Several of the mods left when there was a situation where one of the mods got hacked and started deleting channels. 2 mods were asking Shawn for help, and he just didn't do anything. Eventually, one of the mods kicked the hacked moderator, and that's when things started to calm down. There were just a plethora of situations where he would sit on his hands, cry about it, and then leave the rest to us. And usually when there was a staff meeting, he didn't organize it. I did." The moderator also testifies that people from the server could get a special role from Shawn, which would allow them to be in and see staff chat and hang out with staff. It's not clear who got this role, but it's worth noting that Shawn's server rules only prohibited those under the age of 13, and this is actually how the moderator I talked to first got their position, with Shawn again leaving moderator initiation to his 14-year-old co-owner. In June 2021, someone inevitably leaked the staff chat, and 2 individuals by the name of Viz and Juniper created the account Cancel ShawnCookie 2021. In their screenshot, Shawn can be seen role-playing and interacting sexually with a 16-year-old. "Such a good boy. Fox, you want a pounding, huh? I know you fucking make a joke out of this. Fox, grab your shoulders. I need to see you in those fishnets, fucking please. I'm begging with my soul." Shawn's response can be seen here. "My dude, are you mental? You do know it's not real, right? I don't actually mean these. Even if you don't mean anything, you still shouldn't say it, especially to minors. Creep. The fuck you calling a creep? I don't flirt with anyone, first of all, and second, this isn't a real thing, and I want to know who you guys are. Our names are in our introductions? What are you talking about saying it isn't real? We literally have screenshots. Just admit that you're a pedo. I mean your Discord usernames. I'm not a pedo, I've even said this in my voice chats with people in the server. I'm not into that. Handle this with me on Discord instead of spreading out lies to the internet. Give me your Discord usernames, and I'm not going to tell you again. We're busy right now, so give us a second, please. Busy doing some dumb shit. Do you know how uneducated you people are? I've been through enough of people's bullshit trying to attack me for things I didn't do, and this isn't about to be another issue. I want your usernames, because I know you're scared." According to the moderator I talked to, Shawn's first reaction to this wasn't like the Twitter tough guy he seems to be, but instead to have a panic attack and tell his mods to flag down the account. Sound familiar? Whatever the result was, eventually in October 2021, the ex-moderator's involvement in the server ended after initially being given the go-ahead by Shawn to demote someone. Shawn then went into a staff VC to vent about it to close friends, and reprimanded the moderator for something they were instructed to do. The moderator then left on their own accord, and this wouldn't be the last time that Shawn was publicly exposed for his somewhat weird activity with minors. Alright, I know Gluttony is a bit of a stretch, just let me have this one. Brunito is a Brazilian-speaking FNF YouTuber with 70,000 subscribers who regularly posts FNF music translated into Brazilian from a variety of mods. In July of 2022, they posted a video which used 15 seconds of one of ShawnCookie's animations in one of their videos. 15 seconds, and yet that was all it took for Shawn to issue a copyright strike on Brunito's video. Now, I do not know if Brunito's video fell under fair use. I'm guessing it did because art and animation YouTubers tend to have little to any knowledge of fair use overall, but I can't assume anything. Maybe ShawnCookie did have the legal right to strike down a video for using 15 seconds of their content in videos that are typically around 2 to 3 minutes long. But even then, Shawn still blatantly lied on Twitter about it. Motherfuckers need to stop hopping on my dick for real. If you want to come and harass me over my own work being taken from someone else, go ahead. It's not gonna get me to remove the fucking strike. Either that or you can fuck off. Context? People going after me because I requested the video removal since someone re-uploaded my video on their channel. No, Brunito didn't re-upload your video. That wording makes it seem as if Brunito just downloaded your video and posted it to the channel. In reality, Brunito tried to repeatedly contact Shawn publicly about the strike, and even suggested removing the 15 seconds from the video if Shawn retracted the strike, which is a reasonable offer. But of course, Twitter tough guy Shawn never really gives in. So Shawn had 3 responses. The first is what you've seen before, just blatantly lying about what happened, and the second is when the emotions really kicked in. How about you just not hear his side only, and actually think about why the fuck he was striked in the first place? The video is my own original video, video that I made with my time. I made a post for people not to re-upload that stuff anymore, so I started requesting removal. No, it wasn't. You're just an incredibly fragile cuck with a dying channel and an inability to ignore anything that happens below you. And plus, isn't that selfish as fuck? Yes, I know that's your work, and you may have the right even if it wasn't a raw re-upload, but this is the equivalent of a company removing someone else's video because they used 20 seconds of music. Why not just claim the video anyways? Was it so painful and shocking that someone used your animation and later offered credit? This is blatant abuse of the copyright system. And the third response from Shawn was a bit of guilt by association. And go tell that dude that you worship so much that if he said he's not attacking me, then why is his fans going up to me, threatening me and telling me to rot in hell? How is that Brunito's fault? Unless he instructed his fans to harass you, or made a post about how he's going to harass you, he is not responsible or in control of what his fans do. From what I see, the dude's literally asking to talk about a copyright strike. It's funny how with Starlight, you really wanted to talk to him in DMs and you wanted to sort things out, and when things didn't go your way, you had to resort to flagging, yet you won't hear Brunito out just a few months later. Pretty interesting, that one. So, encouraging false flagging, issuing abusive copyright strikes, and Discord server allegations. All of this and the constant non-confrontational whining had suddenly changed Shawn's public perception for some, including myself. It also didn't really help that Shawn's subscriber count had flatlined for over a year by now. But going into 2023, no one would have guessed that Shawn would be exposed for things that were way worse than anything we've seen so far. On January the 10th, Born Weird, later revealed to be under the name Tristan, published a Google document titled My Experience with ShawnCookie. In this document, Tristan alleges that they had been groomed by Shawn and provides screenshots alongside the story of what happened. ShawnCookie soon made 2 responses that clarified his side of the story. Now, there was a lot of confusion about what really happened here, so much so that a lot of people are under the guise that Shawn made a good response and disproved everything. But in reality, it's a mess of lies and manipulation that managed to fool the public into thinking that Shawn was innocent of some truly deplorable actions. Thankfully, we've managed to piece together the real story from all 3 documents. The interactions between Tristan and Shawn first started in September 2020, when they met each other on a Roblox game called Epic Minigames and began a friendship. In accordance with Shawn's Yeventide birthday, at the time, Shawn was 19. Tristan said he was 16, when in reality, he was actually 13. Winky face. Hug. I'm kinda scared right now because I don't know if you're over 18 or not. I'm 16. I cries because I don't want to go to jail. You're not going to. Shawn and Tristan then exchange NSFW on multiple occasions, with the topics in these images ranging from their own characters to drawings of the Among Us characters. Now already this might be a bit confusing, so let's just quickly be clear on what's happened. Shawn, a 19-year-old, has sent multiple images of pornography to someone they believe to be 16. Now, depending on your personal views, 16-19 already isn't looking good. Personally, here's the thing. I won't say a lot on that matter, except for the fact that Shawn has previously called 3-year age gaps involving adults and minors as pedophilic, so yeah, how ironic. I guess I'll follow your word, ShawnCookie. Also, bonus points for Shawn for responding by manipulating the intent of Tristan's censor by saying it's not censoring something sexual when it clearly is, and using the excuse of the minor was asking for it. Moving forward, on the 12th of October, Tristan changes the story and says he's actually 18, and somehow Shawn goes along with this for the next 2 months. Now again, I'm going to give Shawn the benefit of the doubt and say somehow they didn't know that this 13-year-old was faking being 5 years older than they actually are. We'll leave that as a variable again, because even without that, things get even worse. During October, both Tristan and Shawn reconnect with another friend from Roblox, who was 13 at the time. The 13-year-old had expressed interest in a polyamorous relationship with the 3 of them. Now, if you're a 19-year-old and a 13-year-old proposes a polyamorous relationship, what do you say? Fuck no. But as seen by Tristan's screenshot, Shawn seems to be almost enthusiastic about entering a relationship with them. Cries and not wanting to get in trouble. HHH. Heh, I mean, I'm poly, so I don't mind, but like, he's still a minor. I know. Well, Shawn's next defense is that there's no proof that he ever asked the 13-year-old out or been in a relationship with them, with a DM where Shawn seems to be hesitant on dating this 13-year-old. Except, surprise, that's another lie. Here is another of Shawn's own screenshots where he says, I don't know if I want to keep this going with blank, and I just want to be his friend. So you did go out with this person, and you lied again. Not only in your document, but also on Twitter, you scumfuck. Now, credit where credit's due. Shawn did cite a bunch of reasons as to why he got into a relationship with someone he knew was 13. After all, the 13-year-old did vent a lot about depression and loneliness and being idle, Except no, that just makes you look like you're taking advantage of minors in difficult situations. You can fix someone's life without dating them. Shawn also said that Tristan guilt-tripped and exaggerated and manipulated him, which is crazy because, again, Tristan is also a 13-year-old hiding his age at the time, and yet some kid barely out of middle school has an adult on strings. Now, this is giving me some serious the child is the predator vibe. And anyway, you thought Tristan was 18, and yet this supposed 18-year-old egging you on to be with a 13-year-old in a relationship didn't make you go, fuck no, you're a disgusting creep, but you continued to be friends with them. Hello? If anyone at that age said that, I'd cut them out of my life immediately. Am I living in some fucking alternate universe or something where near enough pedophilia is met with muted compliance? So, Shawn did have a poly relationship with a 13-year-old, and he lied multiple times to get out of it, yet his own screenshots tripped him up. And even then he continued to be friends with someone who he believed to be 18, who was also dating the 13-year-old. Now, I can see why some of you might still give him the benefit of the doubt, but trust me, we're not even at the worst part yet. The next part is undeniable. I have no words, but let's get onto it. Moving forward to December 2nd, 2020, Tristan and Shawn break up because Shawn had found out that Tristan had lied about being 18 and revealed their real age, which was 13. This is supplemented with a DM where Shawn asks if they still have pictures of him. Whatever that implies is up to imagination, but since Tristan didn't point out that it could be like nudes or something, I'm guessing it's probably not something in that kind of area. Astonishingly though, the story doesn't end there, because 3 months later, on the 18th of March 2021, the two get back in contact. Now, surely, after being lied to and not having full knowledge of Tristan's real age, which is 13/14, you'd think Shawn would be careful, but, no. Okay, we got a little pecky here. That's all right. Some of that. Oh, that's a link to porn on Twitter. Oh, Jesus. That's another link. Oh no. Ooh, that's a bad look there with that character, Shawn. Oh, Jesus. Oh no, Shawn. At this point, you might actually have to, call Saul, or you might have to call in O.J. Simpson's dream team, because this is pretty fucking crazy and undeniable. Like, what the fuck? And you know what's fucking worse than that? Shawn cherry-picked the least explicit DM and only put that in his response document as if it was the only thing that was alleged. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, look at this shit. This is blatant manipulation covering things up. And that's it. That's about all the story there is, unless of course you care about clear character assassination and victim blaming by Shawn, because Shawn covers up their lies by saying Tristan was also really mean sometimes, and they wanted to be friends with Shawn a lot, and they lied about their age, as well as the fact that Shawn actually revealed Bornwyd's real name to be Tristan, despite that not being anywhere. So, let's do a little class recap before the end of the day, just so we have this timeline absolutely crystal clear. Shawn, 19, meets Tristan, quote-unquote 16 in September. Shawn sends pornography to someone who they believe to be a 16-year-old. Tristan says they're 18 in October, and the erotic roleplays continue. An anonymous 13-year-old tries to get into a polyamorous relationship with Shawn and Tristan. Shawn has full knowledge of the anonymous 13-year-old's age and status as a minor, and did enter a month-long relationship with them. Shawn also doesn't have any visceral reaction to someone he believes to be 18, proposing a relationship offer with a 13-year-old. In December, Shawn is informed that Tristan was lying about their age and they break it off, with Shawn asking Tristan to delete any pictures. The following March, they get back in contact. Shawn, the 19-year-old, is now fully aware of Tristan's age, 13/14, and sends him links to pornographic websites and images and all of that stuff. I mean, I don't think it takes a rocket science to tell that this shit is completely fucked. Even if you can play the manipulation victim card, you still lied about your relationship with a 13-year-old, and even worse, you knew the age of one and sent pornography to another. That is some fucked up shit, and the fact that your document contains all kinds of clear manipulation, and the fact that it works, completely shocks me. Yes, Tristan wasn't a good person. Lying about your age online can be completely destructive to someone else, and it's not a good thing to do. But to say that Shawn is innocent in this situation is a huge stretch when some of the actions he did are completely awful. Even when Tristan was upfront about his age, he still got sent pornography by an adult. Shawn, you self-admittedly knew the age of Tristan in March and you still sent porn to him. That's completely fucked up. But what's more fucked up is the people still don't know that and still defend you. It's fitting that we end off with pride in particular because pride is the root of all sins, the most difficult sin to avoid, and yet, it's the most human sin. That's because pride inherently isn't bad. It's human for us to have high self-esteem and be proud and confident and ambitious in our lives. That's why we have pride parades. But the issue is that if you take too much personal pride, you become narcissistic, egotistical, and you value yourself too much to the point where you hold yourself high above everyone else. An early sign of this is a short vent post that Shawn created in April 2020, which reads as follows: "I swear I'm gonna quit art. I'm looking at my friends' art and they're improving more than me. Now I'm feeling like how I felt when I first started DeviantArt and drawing. I still can't draw certain shit right and it's been driving me crazy lately." Another one from October 2022 reads as follows: "I hate that I get jealous of my close friends bonding better with other people. Makes me want to isolate myself even more, and I hate feeling this way. Envy is a byproduct of pride. Your ego becomes too inflated that you cannot stand when your peers someone do better than you in anything, and it just destroys you, as does any insults towards your ego. That's why Shawn replied to a small Twitter account trying to expose him in the first place, or calling the people on my server butthurt and acting like babies. Pride is the main reason why all of this happened. Without any of it, I think Shawn could have been a lot more calmer with the Starlight situation, rather than his childish, rash, and wrathful decision to falsely flag someone down. And I don't think he would have thought he was in such a position where he was justified to do so. I also think pride is one of the contributors to why Shawn issued a copyright strike on Brunito for a 15-second clip. Perhaps too greedy to share any use of his work, even if it might have fallen under fair use. And his inflated self-importance made him call him the harshest punishment. Pride's also the reason why Shawn supposedly created an atmosphere of terror on his Discord server, and yet felt so above it that he left the management to a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. And pride is the reason why Shawn's career will not return from here, because he thought he would get away with blatantly lying about his intentions when sending a 13/14-year-old pornography and dating a 13-year-old was 19. Doing explicit things with minors online is one thing, but to then lie about it is past the point of no return. And yet, this prideful fucker constantly loves to quote tweet things as if he's a vindicated individual who's a victim of the community, when in reality all it took was a situation that completely confused everyone into assuming you're right. Does it feel good, Shawn? To be exposed for your wrongdoings time and time again, and yet still have a Twitter echo chamber for support despite the bleeding channel? Is your finger twitching towards the report button, the copyright strike section, or the block button on my Twitter? Go on, Shawn. How much faith do you really have in yourself? The Exorcism is finished. The tale of ShawnCookie is one of pride, and how assuming you can get away with anything will lead to you losing everything. Until next time, stay toasty.